Hey y'all, hey, and welcome back to another session of the Sanctuary. This is our place for reflection, growth, and connection. I'm your girl and guide, Mariah Miles, and I'm so glad you're here with me today. Can you already believe that we're wrapping up January? It feels like just yesterday we were setting our intentions for the new year. And today, well, we get to take a moment to reflect on everything we've explored this month and how it all connects. We will have a guided practice, and then we'll conclude today's session with another sanctuary voice. So sit back, relax. It's time to tune in. Last session over here at the sanctuary, we focused on embracing transitions and the role of reflection in our lives. The excitement and scariness of it all. We practiced that cat-cow pose to connect with our bodies, right? I hope you got into it. I hope it made you feel good. And we explored what we can control versus what we cannot. And the way things are drastically shifting around us, don't we wish we could control more? I know I do. I encouraged you to reflect on how you can embrace the transitions in your life while staying true to yourself. If you missed that session, I highly recommend checking it out. It's a great companion for today's episode. All right, as we wrap up January, let's check in about some key insights we've gathered this month. We've discussed intentions and rituals. So setting intentions guides us. Something about that feels like a mouthful. And rituals, right? They're those comforting anchors that keep us grounded. I wonder, what routines have you been consistent with? I mean, we're at the end of January and most people are like, New Year's resolutions, what? And that's not what we were focusing on when we were setting intentions and rituals. We were focusing on consistency. So what routines have you been consistent with? We explored the power of breath, how mindful breathing also anchors us when life feels chaotic. It's like having a little reset button, right? And we can press it whenever we need to feel that sense of calm. And thinking about your breathing practices this month, did you notice any difference when you took the time to breathe deeply? Were you being intentional with your breath? We also acknowledged letting go. We learned that releasing what no longer serves us can create space for new opportunities. I wonder what that felt like for you. It's kind of like cleaning out your closet and getting rid of those clothes that no longer fit you, that have been sitting in there. I'm going to wear that when this, when that. And I wonder, again, how did that feel? And maybe you take a moment to pause. Maybe you sit with it. Or write your thoughts down. And lastly, we explored understanding transitions. So just last week, right? And we talked about how tough transitions can be. But we also acknowledged that if we acknowledge our feelings during these times, it helps us navigate them with grace. Navigate the transition with grace. It's about giving ourselves permission to feel all the feels. I wonder, can you think of a transition that has challenged you? I wonder how you responded. And again, I invite you to pause the recording at any time so that you can have more time for reflection, to kind of sit with it, ponder, or maybe you write your thoughts down in your busy mind, peaceful hearts journal. All right, we're getting right into it. It's time for our guided meditation practice. I invite you to begin by finding a comfortable position, either sitting or lying down, or if you're feeling into it, perhaps you stand. Allowing your body to settle. And if it feels right, go ahead and gently close your eyes or lower your gaze. Take a moment to notice how your body feels. Are there any areas of tension? Just acknowledging them, observing without judgment. Let's bring our attention to the breath. Take a deep breath in through your nose, filling your lungs completely. Holding it for a moment, and then exhale slowly through your mouth. Let's do this a couple more times. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Allow your breath to return to its natural rhythm. Simply observe your breath as it flows in, as it flows out. Notice the sensation of the air as it enters your nostrils. Notice the sensation as it fills your chest. And then gently leaving your body. As you breathe, you might notice your mind wandering. It's completely normal. And so when you notice this, gently bring your focus back to your breath. Just observing. And just acknowledge the thought and letting it go. With each inhale, feel your body expanding. And with each exhale, feel yourself relaxing a little more. Let the breath be your anchor to this present moment. Let's sit in silence for a moment, just observing your breath. As you breathe, I invite you to think about the insights you've gained this month. What have you learned about yourself? Maybe you've discovered some strengths that you didn't know you had. Or perhaps you've recognized areas where you want to grow. Allow yourself to think them through. And if you're ready, slowly start to bring your awareness back to the room. Gently wiggle your fingers, your toes. And when you're ready, gently opening your eyes. I invite you to pause the recording here and take a second to write down what might have come to you during this practice. All right, y'all, it is time for Sanctuary Voices. This is the segment where we hear from you. Whether it's a reflection or insightful question, we're here for it all. Write in and share your thoughts and experiences. It really enriches our conversation. Today, Lydia shares with us her journey of self-love within relationships. Her story beautifully ties in to all the things we've been exploring. And here's what she had to say. I'm 31. I've been single for about 3 years. I want to find my person, she puts in quotes, and have been going on dates and even meeting a couple of men that I thought had great potential for developing a relationship with. I've been struggling with being able to let my guard down with men. Naturally, I don't want to get hurt. And I tell myself that I am ready to date and feel grounded within myself. But when talking to new prospects, I begin to have an uneasy feeling, so I back out. Men tell me that they notice that I am guarded. Is this self-sabotage? Discernment? What are some ways to navigate this space? Okay, this is extremely relatable to our community. I'm so glad that you posed this question for us today. And it sounds like you're not only navigating some complex feelings around dating, which is completely normal, but also this immense pressure around interpersonal relationships. And we all have them. We want to connect, but feel that innate urge to protect ourselves. And if we were face to face, I would ask you quite literally, what were you experiencing as you wrote this share? What did it feel like for you? And I guess we don't have to be in person. As you're hearing it said back to you, What are you experiencing? What does it feel like? I think the first step is we need to unpack how our bodies play a crucial role in these emotional responses that we all have. I feel like a lot of people lean into their intuition, guilty, or gut feelings, or even logic. But I'm not talking about those logical people right now, no. Mm-mm. I'm focusing on the felt sense. So that intuition, that gut feeling. So like I said, I lean into my intuition. And like you, Lydia, how you mentioned, I also lean into my discernment. So intuition and gut feelings seem to be used interchangeably, but they are not the same. So intuition for me is more spiritual. It's an instinctual sense, almost like a deeper knowing that arises from within. It's that inner voice that guides us, right? Are you feeling me with this? Okay. So as intuition often feels like a sense of calm, that guiding force. On the other end, a gut feeling is more of a physical response, right? Does that make sense? It's those somatic responses like the butterflies that you get in your stomach or maybe a tightness in your chest. It's your body's way of signaling, hey, something's going on here, right? It is literally signaling something to you. And this is very much tied to your nervous system, which, can be influenced by past experiences, trauma, stress. And so I want to take a moment to talk about the vagus nerve. I'm going to go in a few details here because I feel like it's really important for us to understand. So the vagus nerve, it's a key player in the gut-brain connection. The vagus nerve is one of the longest nerves in the body. It stretches from the brain all the way down to the abdomen, and it's part of that autonomic nervous system, which controls all of our involuntary functions like heart rate, digestion, respiratory rate. I want you to think of it as some sort of like communication highway, right? It goes from the brain and a bunch of various organs, including our heart and our gut. All of this helps regulate how we respond to stress. And also, it influences our emotional state. When the vagus nerve is functioning well, it helps our nervous system feel balanced. It's in balance, right? It promotes the feeling of calm and safety. That's a great feeling. But when we're stressed or anxious, which a majority of us are like all the time, we stay on that balance can be disrupted. And it affects how we are physically and emotionally. So the vagus nerve helps, transmit those signals, right? About what's happening in our gut back to our brain, which then affects our mood and our reactions in a whole bunch of different situations. So when you mention feeling uneasy while dating, it could be that your body is picking up on stress or discomfort from the situation and kind of linked to how the vagus nerve is functioning in that moment, right? And it's not necessarily a sign that you're self-sabotaging. It could be just your body's way of protecting you based on what it's learned from the past. I think we don't give our body enough credit. Our nervous system is constantly trying to manage us. It's constantly working. And so Can we look at it through that lens? I think that it's important to honor those feelings while still also exploring what they might be trying to tell you. If you know that when you start to get close to someone, you want to back out, or perhaps just acknowledging that piece, right? And then kind of anticipate that feeling may continue to arise. And when it does, just to notice it. Oh, there's my flight response activating again. And you know, from our first and second session, we talked a lot about the nervous system and when it gets overwhelmed, how it goes into that fight, flight, freeze, or fawn response. And so I wonder, is your flight response getting activated? Can you just acknowledge, hey, that's happening again? And when you acknowledge that feeling, it's creating a space for yourself to respond with curiosity rather than that fear. And maybe you even can ask yourself, what is triggering this response? What's another word for triggering? I don't know. For some reason, the word trigger triggers me. And so is it the situation? Is it that person? Or is it something from my past? It allows you to differentiate between your protective instincts and genuine concerns about the person you're dating, right? It's about creating room for both your intuition and those somatic feelings without letting them dictate your actions. Okay, so I've done a lot of yapping around the potential why. Now let's look at a few ways you can navigate this in real time. So some options, my go-to would be tune into your body. Pay close attention to those somatic responses, either before or even during the date. Allow yourself a moment to check in with how you're feeling. Noticing what physical sensation you're experiencing. Are they telling you to proceed with caution, or is it just nervousness? And maybe even asking yourself, what might I need? So that's self-attunement. How am I feeling? What do I need? And maybe try to separate your intuitive insights from those gut feelings, right? So asking yourself if the uneasy feeling is coming from a place of fear, or if it's providing you with a valuable information about the person or situation. Another thing that I might pose is find ways to create emotional safety for yourself during dates. So this might mean maybe setting boundaries or taking breaks. So if you're starting to notice that you're getting overwhelmed, maybe you excuse yourself to the bathroom, or maybe just even choosing the environment so that you can feel comfortable. So if loud spaces or too many people make you overwhelmed, maybe go look kind of low key, right? And I also encourage you to continue your mindfulness practice. That can really help connect and build upon that intuition and that connection of mind-body. And this can cultivate that deeper sense of self-awareness, right, around your feelings, and really help you navigate with more clarity so you can trust yourself. I think I don't even want to say I think. It's perfectly okay to take your time exploring these feelings. Intuition can guide you, but listening to your body's signal, all the signals, is equally important, right? And I think that they'll both play a role in helping you find your person. I invite everyone to take a collective deep breath and just letting it go. Thanks again, Lydia, for writing in, being vulnerable, sharing, allowing us to hold space with you. It really added to today's session. If you'd like to join our Sanctuary Voices and have some reflections or questions to throw at us, connect at the sanctuarywithmoriahmyles at gmail.com. Altogether, no spaces. Or you can head over to IG, Instagram at my_Moriah. Once again, thank you for being here. You showed up. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a session here at the Sanctuary. Until next time, embrace each breath and remember our bodies have this innate wisdom, the beautiful ability to heal itself. And we heal best in community. Peace, y'all. While this podcast may feel like a therapeutic conversation, it is important to note that it is not a substitute for professional therapy or mental health. The information shared here is intended solely for educational purposes and should not be used as a replacement for personalized mental health care. Although I am a therapist, I'm not acting as your therapist in this setting. If you are in need of support, please reach out to a qualified mental health professional.